If you thought the Tupperware Museum was the height of dull self-promotion, consider yourselves lucky. We could have shown you the Accountants Hall of Fame or the Soup Tureen Museum, galleries so unexciting as to be surreal. But there is one industry whose museum is worth driving hundreds of miles to see. In fact, you have to. Way out in the California desert, one of the burlesque business's legendary customer service reps is keeping a grand, seductive art form alive and grinding out a buck in the process at the Strippers Hall of Fame.
Hi, I'm Dixie Evans, and welcome to Exotic World. This is the Burlesque Hall of Fame, home for striptease dancers.
An average of 4 visitors a day, not too shabby for the Mojave Desert, is shown pasties, G-strings and a wall of photos recalling the pre-silicon era, when pendulous breasts were a rare treat, not an overblown cliché. And there's Dixie herself, to provide a personal link to the time when disrobing was a gentle art.
Many of the girls all aspired for maybe the legitimate theater, but in those days, you just had to scramble and pull yourself up and hopefully to get on stage for the first time, and then you just had to kind of keep going, and you had to have a gimmick. There was Lily St. Cyr. Lily St. Cyr was noted for being totally elegant, took a bubble bath on stage. Tempest Storm was a big name. She was noted for her flaming red hair, chalky white body, and the enormous boobs that just stuck out, and she could throw that hair and came out the stormy weather. There was Candy Bar. Now, Candy Bar was absolutely adorable. The most perfect little body and cute little pixie face, looked just like a little baby face. You could be very beautiful and pretty, which we had some gorgeous girls, but you see, the newspaper wants to put something in there to get the people in. They want to say, she does this, she does that. You know, she strips with her hair on fire and does a navel spin on an ice cube. So I'm exaggerating, of course.
But boy, that would be something to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to see that act myself.
What about Dixie Evans?
Well, okay. I was the Marilyn Monroe of burlesque. Wow. It just wasn't that easy to become a movie star. After all, I had to walk and knock on every agent's door until I thought I would drop. But somehow, I just had to reach the top. And then I would go over to a little movie camera and take a little screen test. You ought to be in pictures. And then I'd run over to the producer's chair. What? I didn't get the job? Oh! You and me on the couch? Oh. And then I'd go trooping across the stage and remote to take all of my wardrobe off and work the couch over pretty good, too.
Exotic World isn't just a mecca for horny nostalgics, it's also an unofficial clubhouse for retired strippers, like Voluptua.
These are the gals from yesterday. And some of them are still around, and they're still looking gorgeous, they're still active, and they represented an era that you won't see today. But the fact is, I wasn't a nightclub stripteaser. I was a movie stripteaser. There was a movie I worked on with Jailhouse Rock with Elvis, and I was a stripteaser at the opening scene. That's me looking through my legs. Took all day for him to look through my legs. Today, the go-go girls just shake everything, no imagination. They don't take a little piece off here and a little piece off there and make the guys say, wow, when you taking off the rest?
I know you're anxious, so I'll have to show you more.
Suggestion is where it's at, not just bearing it all out. A little tease here and there, rolling your shoulder, exposing your shoulder blade, and putting it back. They want to see more of that shoulder, right?
Now, you see my bra and panties, they're really made of lace. You take them off before you, would be no disgrace.
And to wear, see this? Only one of my legs exposed. This is more provocative. Isn't that more interesting than if both were exposed?
You know, it's hard to believe, but we actually all started in burlesque hoping that we would go on to something bigger and better. Of course, once you got in burlesque, there was a camaraderie among all of us. We stuck together, and we didn't care what the rest of the world thought of us. We knew what we were, and we got paid, and we were stars in our own right. We respected one another. I got a letter from Blaze Starr, and she said, Dixie, the other night I had a dream, and I dreamed they were calling me to go on stage, and I couldn't find my G-string, and I was just terribly frightened, and I couldn't find it. And she said, then when I woke up, I was so sad to find out it was only a dream. And I thought that was kind of cute at the end of a letter. Yes, we're dream girls. Yeah, we dream. We dream of the past.
In a country so obsessed with making a buck that the past is preserved only to somehow validate the rather meagre achievement of making money, it's surprising to find this place. No one's getting rich at Exotic World, but without it, a defunct form of entertainment and its stars would be forgotten. And even a mad, soulless culture like America can't afford to forget those bazooms. The fundamental theme of American business is anything for a buck. And if there's one profession whose very existence sums up that creed, it's the job of mascot. For years, folks have clapped on silly costumes and giant heads to portray characters at American theme parks. But nowadays, mascots are employed by an incredible number of once respectable American corporations. Such masters as the Phillie Phanatic, who rouses crowds for the Philadelphia baseball team, have elevated mascotdom to a potentially lucrative and surprisingly cool occupation. But a decade ago, nobody wanted to be a mascot, not even the Phillie Phanatic himself.
I was just a kid in the stockroom. I guess they realized I was the one that was young enough who would have to say yes. They knew I couldn't say no. And they threw me out there one night, and it's just, that was 15 years ago.
And today, if he's not quite a household name, he's certainly a ballpark figure.
We're trying to get people in the stands. And 50, 60 years ago, the stadiums only held 35, 40,000 people. Now we have 60, 70, 80,000 seat stadiums. So we don't need just Dad and Junior. We need Mom, Dad, Junior, and the baby to come out to the game. So we have to provide entertainment. So the Phanatic is a source of entertainment and fun for everyone.
And a source of revenue. If the Phanatic helps bring in an extra 5,000 people, that means an extra $50,000. So it's no wonder that some opticians and even banks have adopted anthropomorphic representatives.
I was never the guy that wore the lampshade on his head at a party. I was the guy that talked the guy into wearing the lampshade, so that when everyone said, oh gosh, isn't he funny, I'd say, yeah, I told him to do that. And if everyone else was saying, boy, what a jerk, I was saying, yeah, he's really a jerk. I had no part of it. So it's a way of being covered up and getting away with all the practical jokes, and no one really knows who you are. If I did what the Phanatic did on the street, I'd get arrested. I mean, you can't go up and I say molest, for lack of a better term. The Phanatic molests people. He invades their space, and to people that he is total strangers to. Well, if I did that on the street, I'd be locked up.
So if you can't learn the skills of mascotting on the street, where can you go? For thousands of young Americans eager to join the swelling ranks of lovable, big-headed corporate caricatures, there is only one way in: mascot school.
Okay, remember, when you're in mascot land, you are no longer human beings. So to enter mascot land, you have to enter mascot land as your mascot. So walk on in as your mascot, people.
In America, whenever a new business takes off, it's only a matter of time before enterprising vultures swarm in for a piece of the action. Aside from the dozens of mascot schools, there are mascot costumiers, choreographers and supply shops, all doing very nicely out of man's primal need to see big, furry, dancing things.
You guys want to do that with the music?
Not all mascots went to the right schools. The world is full of would-be mascots, people who have the suit but nowhere to wear it. New York City's Rapid T Rabbit, a freelance hare chasing the proverbial carrot, hones his skills in Central Park and on a self-financed cable TV show.
This is the studio.
Flat? No. This is the studio. This is the studio.
Oh, okay. I thought this was the closet.
There's a certain amount of magic that you're trying to generate, okay? Like the more famous characters have no problem with that. It's perhaps more of a challenge for me because when you're virtually unknown, even though you have a TV show to back you up, it's you have to work that much harder.
It's possible that Mr. Rabbit's difficulty in finding the adulation and respect he deserves as a hard-working, conscientious mascot has more to do with location than anything else. Of all the cities in the world in which to ply his gentle, subtle art, surely New York must be the toughest.
About 10 years ago, former Mayor Ed Koch even floated the idea of having a mascot for the city of New York. You know, people sent him lots of strange ideas, from cockroaches to muggers to various ethnic caricatures. I would like to be a character that's gonna be, you know, that's here on the streets of New York. You know, in a big city, there is so much going on in the city. You're just struggling just to get attention, just to get noticed. I mean, I could practically walk down the street and not get noticed. It'd be easily ignored as I am easily being attacked. It's again, because when you're not a famous character, it's you're just another rabbit.
For mascots to maintain their lofty status, the public must continue to perceive them as happy, frothy, delightful concoctions. As a result, they abide by an unwritten code of conduct, never talk about the hardships involved, and under no circumstances appear partially costumed. In what must be a television first, we persuaded one well-loved theme park mascot to do both.
Hi there. Listen, thanks for talking to us. I realise this is a little bit against the wall.
No problem.
Okay, just make sure the door's closed. We don't want to, like, destroy, like, too many images, I guess. Children love us, but little 11-year-old boys have reached that age, you know, where they're violent. You know, they have hormones, but they don't know what to do with them yet. So it's kill the giant pink pig.
Yeah, they just maul the pig.
And little kids are usually really scared. It's like this one little 2-year-old baby. He comes up and it's like, oh, piggy, piggy, piggy. He gets almost up to me and his father goes, it's gonna eat ya, it's gonna eat ya. And this kid lets out these blood-curdling screams and is like screaming his head off. I could hear the kid like 20 minutes later on the other side of the park. We get a note from our supervisor the next day. A man in the giant pink pig suit that looked like Ralph the Pig scared my little boy. It's probably very traumatizing when adults who don't realize that we're 6 feet tall normally, and you put another 8 inches on top of us, that puts us at close to 7 feet. And they bring their 1 or 2-year-old daughter or son up, and like shoving this baby that's this big up in our faces, of course the kid's gonna be scared.
Say hi!
I personally do not pick up kids. I do not hold them because, for me, it's dangerous. You know, because I can't see them very well, and I don't want to drop anybody and have a lawsuit on my cottontail, you know? You can have my hand, but not my tail, okay? You have to be careful the way you hold kids because, you know, there's so much attention in the news now about child abuse, you know, sexual abuse of children and so on. So if you're gonna hug a kid, you gotta make sure you hug him in the right place.
So why would anyone want to be a mascot? What is it that makes the suffering, the heat, the constant accusations of child abuse worth enduring? One word: money. The ultimate payoff can be handsome indeed. The Philly fanatic pulls down a hefty 6-figure income.
You know what's funny though? There's a whole group of people when they find out what I make, there'll be half of them will say, oh my God, I can't believe you're making that much money. Do you realize that so-and-so and so-and-so doesn't make that kind of money? And then the other half are saying, they're killing you. They're killing you. You got to get an agent, get someone to represent you. So no one's happy except me.
Would you like to do this full time?
Yes, I would if it paid enough. Yes, I would. I wouldn't mind doing that at all if it paid what you would need to live on here in New York City. You know, that's why I'm trying to get freelance work. But you know, as the saying goes, don't quit your day job.
People have to get in a mascot uniform to appreciate what people go through. A lot of times you'll hear of certain friends of mine and adults alike, they seen that, oh, it's just a mascot, big deal. Well, it's like, well, why don't you try and getting in a suit and doing what I do, and then you'll see how important we really are.